Hello, watch obsessives. Is there such thing as the perfect 10 watch? When I was a teenager, there was a movie with this beautiful woman named Bo Derek. You might have heard about her, a real force of nature. And in 1979, she was in a movie called 10. I've never even seen the movie. I've seen Bo Derek quite a bit, but the movie is supposed to be really bad. But it brings to the question: when you spend $6,000 on a watch, for an example, I mean, I'm currently coveting the Omega Planet Ocean 46 millimeter 9300 chrono. Costs about 6K. It better be a 10. When you put it on your wrist, you better have this big smile on your face. When I read a lot of car reviews, consumer car reviews, and people who love their cars, they'll tell you. And I notice this with people who own their Audi and their BMW and their Mini Cooper. I don't know why. People who own those cars, they tend to really love them a lot. I personally would be terrified of the repair costs for such cars. But people who own those cars say, every time I put the ignition key in, I have this big smile on my face. And I feel that if you spend a lot of money on a watch, say $6,000, you had better have a big smile on your face. I'm thinking the watch better give you a back massage and had better serve you your breakfast in the morning as well. I'm currently holding my Seiko SRP 637. Pretty darn good watch. I'm not going to give it a 10, but man, when I wear it on my wrist, it's an 8.5 or a 9. By the way, I don't know if I have any 10 watches. That's an amazing standard. Man, I'm wearing a 10. Man, all my watches are like 8s, a couple 7s. Maybe I should sell the 7s. I mentioned this because I reached this point this morning as I was thinking about your watch collection and what it says a lot about you. Uh, your watch collection is pretty much a revelation of who you are, and it's important to know who you are because if you don't, if your watch spending habits are born out of not knowing who you are, you're probably going to have really bad watch habits. You're going to be like a blind man whose purchase of watches is like groping for straws, hoping you'll find what you want. I wonder if a lot of watch obsessives are even into watches at all. Perhaps the watch obsession is just an escape or a distraction from your deeper problems that you have in life, and perhaps you stumbled into a watch community online, and there's a certain connection there, and you're just buying watches and talking about watches and thinking about watches more out of habit than anything else. I'm not saying that's true, but I'm fascinated by that question. So you need to know your motivations. As my motivations for watch collecting go, I don't have a clue. Around 2007, my wife and I were in a watch store in Torrance, California at the Del Amo Mall, and I saw a Citizen Pro Diver known as the Echozilla. I just knew I had to have it, and I was done. My brain was latched onto watches from that day. I didn't plan it. It wasn't an intellectual exercise. It was just something from my gut, and I've been diseased by the watch obsession ever since, in some form or another. For a while, I was buying TV fashion brands that I'm not even going to talk about right now. Your your watch collection. I took some notes here. Uh, it says a lot about you. If you have this giant collection and you don't really like the watches that much, and you put them on in the morning and you're despairing no matter which watch you put on, that's a bad sign. That's a sign of a lost collector. Uh, some of you have watches that you pretend that you like. You spent so much damn money on them, whatever your budget is, in your own, relative to what your budget is. You spent a lot of money on the watch, and you tell yourself you like it, but deep down, you don't really like it. I guess if you want to be dramatic about it, you're living a lie. And or you don't like it and your watch community does like it, so you want to please the watch community, so you pretend that you like it for that reason as well. Again, you're living a lie and you're confused and you're not going to be happy with your collection. uh, I think what you want to do is have the signs of a happy collector, and here's some signs of what I would call a happy watch collection, a happy watch collector. By the way, before we go on, some of you don't want to be happy. Some of you are addicted to the drama of the misery and the anxiety and the sadness. That happens. And that's fine. You don't have to be ashamed of that. Eric Weiner came to the conclusion that he's probably addicted to sadness in his very wonderful travel book, The Geography of Bliss. So if you want to be miserable with your collection and with other parts of your life, that's probably fulfilling a certain need in your life. Now let's go back to the signs of a happy collector. Number one, your collection is manageable. In other words, it tends to be smallish. I can't give you a magic number on what a smallish collection is because that number is going to differ. But let me put it this way. Have you ever seen a boy, a 7-year-old boy on Christmas morning, and he opens up a present that he's been asking for all year long, and he's been so damn good for Santa Claus, and he opens it and he's just overjoyed, but then there's like 27 more presents that he has to open, and his brain is so scattered that he can't enjoy anything. He's just too scatterbrained. I think that can happen with your collection. You can just get scatterbrained, and you could have a holy grail in your collection, but by the sheer virtue of all those other watches, they could dilute the potency of your grail. So I do think your watch collection has to be manageable. There's another sign of a happy collector with a happy collection. Sometimes there's a disparity between the way the watch looks in the box and the way it looks on your wrist. This watch here, the Seiko SBDL 021, I give it a 7 or an 8. It looks really good. Put it on my wrist, it's okay. It's all right. There might be a little disparity there. Here's a Seiko Tuna. Looks pretty good on my wrist. I give it an 8.5. There's not much of a disparity there. Sometimes a watch will look like a jewel piece in the box, and you put it on your wrist, and it disappears. You go, wow, how'd that happen? So what you want is a watch that just looks good on your wrist, in the box, no disparity. The other sign of a happy watch collector with a happy watch collection is you put a watch on your wrist and you're just like that guy who drives his Mini Cooper and who loves his Mini Cooper. You put it on and there's just this big smile on your face. And as I was saying earlier, there better be a smile on your face if you spend $6,000 on a watch that you saved up for 18 or 24 months. And as I was saying earlier, gosh, you're almost hoping that it serves you breakfast as well. And I wonder if there's even such thing as a 10. You know, is that a chimera? What if a watch is a 10 because you saw an actor wear it on TV, and then you get it and you put it on your wrist and you go, oh, that's really nice, man. That's a 9. And then after a while, it goes down to a 7, and it may be a chimera. Welcome to the world of watch madness. Are there any other things I wanted to talk about having a happy collection? That's pretty much it. I really just wanted to discuss the notion of, is there such thing as a perfect 10 for a watch? And could it be that your watch collection reveals a lot about you, whether you're confused or whether you have your life together, and whether a large collection where the watches, you put them on your wrists and they feel like they're 6s or 7s, but you're just kind of slogging through your watch hobby. Perhaps that's a sign of someone who doesn't know himself, whereas a man who has like maybe 4 watches and he just puts them on, he has that Mini Cooper effect. He just smiles. Maybe he knows himself more. And maybe that's the evolution we're all trying to get to. I could be wrong. I'm just exploring the idea. And I am out.